نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Respected listeners and viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This Quranic understanding program is being presented by Adult Quranic Education Program, Srinagar. Today we shall try to learn few more verses from chapter number 4, that's Al-Nisa, starting from verse number 117. Surah Al-Nisa, verse number 117. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. إن يدعون من دونه, they in fact worship instead of Allah إلا إناثا, only the female gods. وإن يدعون إلا شيطانا مريدا, but the fact is they worship or they call upon Satan, the rebellious one. La'nahullah, whom Allah has cursed. Waqala, and he, that's devil or Satan, has said, لَأَتَخِذَنَّ مِنْ عِبَادِكَ, that I shall take away or seize from amongst your servants nasiba mafruda, a specific share or portion. وَلَا أُدِلَّنَّهُمْ, and I shall mislead them. وَلَا أُمَنِيَنَّهُمْ, and I shall arouse sinful wish in them, sinful desires in them. وَلَا أَمْرَنَّهُمْ, and I shall command them. فَلَا يُبَتِّكُنَّ آذَانَ الْأَنْعَامِ, and so they shall slit the ears of cattle. وَلَا أَمْرَنَّهُمْ, and I shall command them. فَلَا يُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ, and they shall change the creation of Allah. وَمَنْ يَتَّخِذِ الشَّيْطَانَ وَلِيًّا, and whoever takes Satan as his ally or as his friend, min dunillah, instead of Allah, faqad khasira khusran mubin, certainly he has fallen in an open loss, an evident loss. Ya'iduhum, Satan only promises them, وَيُمَنِّيهِمْ, and arouses sinful desires in them. وَلَا يَعِدُّهُمُ الشَّيْطَانِ, but the promise of Satan are nothing إِلَّا غُرُورًا, except deception and delusion. أُولَٰئِكَ مَأْوَاهُمْ جَهَنَّمُ, these are the people whose final abode will be hell. وَلَا يَجِدُونَ عَنْهَا مَحِيصًا, they should not find any exit point from it. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, on the other hand, those who believe, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and do good deeds, سَنُدْخِلُهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ, we shall admit them to gardens, تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ, beneath which flow streams, خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا, wherein they shall abide. وَعْدُ اللَّهِ حَقًّا, this Allah's promise, true promise. وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ قِيلًا, who can be truer in statement or in word than Allah himself. صدق الله العظيم. Coming back to today's verses, that's verse number 117, chapter An-Nisa. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. إِن يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ, they, that's idol worshippers, the polytheists, is about them. إِن يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ إِلَّا إِنَاثًا, they worship or they call upon, instead of Allah, the female gods. You know, in this world there have been different kinds of polytheistic philosophies. So the polytheistic philosophy is multiplicity of gods, thinking that there's a creator of earth, there's one God, while creator of heavens is another, or even God of death one, and God of granting life some other God. Similarly, different God of good virtues, one God, while as God of evil, another God. But Islam rejects all these philosophies and explains that there's only one creator of this whole universe. And he's the creator, he's Lord, and then that means only he is to be worshipped. Anything other than Allah the Almighty in this universe, in this whole system, whatever is there, whoever is there, whether living or non-living, whether planets and stars, galaxies, or whether they are invisible beings like jinns, or the creation, special creations like angels created out of light, or even human beings, or many more creations about whom we don't have yet perfect knowledge, who are living beings scattered in different parts of this universe. But Quran says all these are creation. All these things have been created, whether they are animate or inanimate, living beings or non-living, whatever it is. Everything is, or everyone is a creation. So only Creator is to be worshipped. One who worships anything or anyone other than Allah. That means he is worshipping creation rather than Creator. And that is the basic confusion. It's against logic. And this kind of polytheism has no basis whatsoever, no argument can have it in its favor. And we see even in the Arabian Peninsula, they used to believe angels, but as the daughters of God. And they used to carve out, create idols, sculptures, images of these imaginary. Nobody had seen these angels, but they used to make imaginary pictures, whether pictures or images, or they would carve out some image on stone, making idol, or out of some metals, and thinking that these are the images or the pictures of angels who are the daughters of God and they are to be worshipped. They are partners to God. Once they are happy, then once we worship them, they'll advance our case before God, their Father. But Quran said there's nothing doing. Even some religions also suffered. Basically, who were the monotheistic religion like Judaism and Christianity. As Moses, mercies of Allah be upon him, we revere him, we respect him, we honor him. He has been one of the all-time greats. Similarly, Jesus Christ. No doubt about his integrity, no doubt about his piety, righteousness, and the highest status. But after all, he was a human being. He was a chosen one, the messenger of God, propagator of true faith, propagator of love and affection. He was embodiment of affection, in fact, as any other prophet. But even those Christians and Jews suffered due to the influx or due to tremendous pressures, outside pressures of this polytheism. They couldn't withstand that pressure. As Quran explains this, that they are only they have gotten influenced by the polytheistic currents, that just to make their religion acceptable to those polytheistic conditions. They adjusted themselves in this polytheism, declaring Jesus as Son of God. And accordingly, Jews also suffered, declaring Uzair or Ezra as Son of God, likewise. And instead of changing the polytheistic current, they surrendered before that. Whereas, as far as Quran is concerned, Quran propounded true and pure monotheism. Belief in one and only omnipotent, omniscient, all-powerful God, the Creator and Lord and Sustainer. And Islam or Quran or Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon, didn't compromise on this. By its tremendous arguments, which were based on reason, on the basis of the revelations, based on the true knowledge, Quran changed this current of polytheism. And it's from God, from surrendering before it. So this is just mention of one kind of polytheism prevalent in Arabian Peninsula and elsewhere. We see, like we see in Devi Devatas, what we call in Indian language, we see the pictures or image being created, female pictures, declaring them either goddesses or, as Arabs used to believe, daughters of God, like that. Inatha means female. They call upon instead of Allah the so-called female gods, which they have carved out, they have created out of their own imaginations. That's why Quran says, وَإِن يَدْعُونَ إِلَّا شَيْطَانًا مَرِيدًا. The fact that they don't worship or call those female gods, it is in fact they call Satan, the rebellious one. That means these are all satanic impulses. These are actions of devil who has been putting these ideas in evil minds, evil human minds, to create pictures, imaginary pictures of angels as female gods. Or sometimes, how polytheism started in this world, that Satan put in the minds of people, yes, okay, you had great people, righteous and pious people around, but they are no more, they have died, they have passed away. But how can you remember them? It's better if you make a picture, a sculpture or an idol, and keep it with you in your houses or your place of worship. It will remind you about these great people who have passed before. It was just a beginning, the satanic impulses. Then it by gradually established the polytheism. As far as Quran is concerned, they call upon, instead of Allah, only these female gods, their own imaginations. The fact is that they call none but Satan, the rebellious one, because he is the originator, he is the creator, he has put his ideas, he has made human beings to dance to his tunes. And they started following satanic impulses. That's why they call upon but Satan, the rebellious one, who rebelled against Allah, who violated the norms, who showed open disobedience and disregard to Allah's command. In the initial when Adam was created, and Adam was made as a representative of all humanity, he was made the cream of creation, what we call Ashraful Makhlukat, and all the creations, including invisible beings like jinns or even angels, who were the superior most before the arrival of Adam on the scene. And all other creatures, whether animate, sun, moon, or these other anything, beasts and animals, man was made a superior, the best of the best. When all the creation accepted the superiority of Adam, it was only Satan who turned rebellious, who rebelled against Allah. Quran says, "Lanahullah," Allah, whom Allah has cursed for this his rebellious attitude. Waqala, and Satan at that time said, when he was thrown out, pushed out, expelled from the garden, and thrown away, shown the exit. And he was cursed by Allah. That time he asked for, he pleaded for some respite so that he may be granted time. Allah, out of his mercy, granted him time. And that time Satan had said, Waqala, that time that Satan, the devil, had said, La atakhizana min ibadik. Oh God, I shall take from you amongst your servants nasiba mafruda, a specific portion. That means I shall try to mislead the offsprings of Adam and take my share, make them to follow mine and make them to dance to my tunes. Wala udillannahum. And Satan at that time said that I shall mislead them. It is very important. That means Satan himself knows the way he is showing, he is not leading to the right path. Wala udillannahum. I shall mislead them. Imagine. That means Satan, devil himself says that the path I will show to humans or offspring of Adam is not the straight path, is not the right path, is not path of piety or righteousness or truth or honesty. It is, I'll mislead them. Imagine Satan himself says my path is misleading path. And imagine now the people who follow Satan, they feel that we are right. They try to justify their path, we are right. We are moving on the right direction. While as their leader, who makes them to follow that path, himself didn't say on Satan, the Iblis, in the first innocent, didn't say that I shall lead them on the right path. He says, Wala udillannahum, I shall mislead them. Wala umaniyannahum, and I shall arouse sinful desires in them. in humans. Wala amurannahum, and I shall command them. That's why how Satan affects us, putting sinful desires. We see many things, halal, pure, good for health, good for physical as well as spiritual health. But it is Satan who puts in the minds of humans he arouses sinful desires and making them to eat or drink what's harmful. Instead of going for, imagine, there are hundreds and thousands of types of all the fruits, apple, orange. I just give some simple example. It's not limited to that, just to make it understand. Big facts through small examples. We have orange, pomegranates, bananas, and everything around hundreds of thousands. See, everybody knows they are good for health. They provide you food supplements by which you grow, you become stronger, you are mentally alert and physically well built. It is Satan who makes you to abandon all this and instead asking you, arousing sinful feelings and sinful desires, by rejecting all this and drinking what is from all standards injurious to health, like intoxicants, alcoholic drinks. Despite the positive features of alcohol and drinks, everybody knows. All medical experts of the world are of the opinion, it's consensus amongst all, that one way or the other they have dangerous effects too. So it is Satan. Similarly, about sexual relations, which Quran provides, yes, you marry, you are young, there are emotions in you, sentiments which arouse sexual feelings. This is natural. There's nothing to feel shy about it. You have sexual organs, you have sexual urges, you have hormones, testosterone, yes. So it's just go for marriage, man, woman, and you can fulfill your genuine desires through proper outlet. Though one marriage is enough, but in some circumstances, Islam also allows sometimes polygamy. It's not a rule, it's not an instruction. This is not a command that, believers, you go for polygamy, you marry more than one wife. Quran, I have seen in this chapter itself, you can go for one more marriage if need arises. Situations are like that. Now, I don't want to go into details of the situation, which we have already read. Imagine, this is Satan who makes him to believe, why should you go for single marriage? He makes him to go for extramarital relation, abandoning his own wife and going after others. Not only that, instead of if he would have more urge for sexual satisfaction, instead of making him to understand, yes, you can have one more wife and take responsibility of her, make her life partner and live happily with her. No, this not. Satan will never tell that. He will arouse sinful feelings. He will force, rather, by his arousing for sinful desires, make him to have many mistresses, having to have extramarital relations. That is okay. Even in the present day world, this is what we call satanic world. Satanic or devilish century of 20th and 21st century. Male, even if married, he can have, or unmarried, there's no problem with that too in present day world. Even in married people, they can have extramarital relations. That is a sign of modernity. But if somebody says, yes, let me marry another wife, that is to be considered orthodox, conservative, out of date. He'll be declared social outcast. This is all Satan's doings. One who would like to go for sexual desires in a pious and righteous way, that's not acceptable to Satan. But go for anything, whether you are occupying the high places in White Houses and all that, which we have seen just in our recent past and still happening. That is okay, that's no problem to have one. But if somebody marries another, that's to be condemned. This or wala umaniyannahum, I shall arouse in them, that's humans, this Satan is saying, sinful desires. Wala amrannahum, and I shall command them. Fala yubatikunna azan al-anam, so that they shall slit the ears of cattle. What is this Satan's doings? What is it? These were some wrong customs based on idol worship and polytheism in primitive people, that they would, since they used to worship the idols and images and sculptures and all that, imaginary gods, mostly female gods, as Quran explains in these verses, then they would dedicate some other animals. Okay, they would say, as we see in Quran, in next chapter, Al-Ma'idah, we'll see, if we have if a female camel, she camel, if she produces 5 or 7 offsprings, and then last one we shall dedicate to this particular idol. What was that? Nothing. It was in fact those people sitting behind those idols and those devils who worked on satanic agenda, who acted as the agents of devil and Satan. They would make them to feel, yes, these you can dedicate. And those camels, stone sculptures cannot eat anything. It was in fact those people who were so-called clergy, agents of clergy behind that, they would take away that. And therefore that they would mark those animals by slitting their ears. That, okay, they would say, don't touch this animal. This is dedicated to this idol. This is dedicated to that idol. Like that, they would say. This is slitting of ears. That's why we see idols being worshipped, who had been worshipping in the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Lat, Manat, Uzza, Hubal, Laila. Most of them were female gods. They were considered to be the so-called angels. That's female gods or daughters of God. Wala amrannahum. And Satan had said in the first instance that I shall command them. That means offspring of Adam. فَلَا يُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. So that they shall change the creation of God, Allah, creation of God. Changing creation of God means to use everything God has created in this world has a specific purpose. Males have their own purpose, females have their own role, animals have their own, everything has this. Using anything other than the role assigned to them, which is the best role in nature, means changing the creation of God. That means, it may, some commentators believe that sex change also mean that out of fantasy, some male would like to become a female or vice versa. Or what is expected of doing a female, male assigned to perform that role, or male may perform roles of female, become female like in appearance and in their upbringings and all that. That means changing the creation of this, all satanic doings. وَمَنْ يَتَّخِذِ الشَّيْطَانَ وَلِيًّا. And whoever takes Satan as his ally or as his friend, min dunillah, against Allah or instead of Allah, فَقَدْ خَسِرَ خُسْرَانًا مُبِينًا. Certainly, he has put himself in manifest loss. And at the end of the day, he'll feel he was the ultimate loser. Because he'll feel, even at the time of death, and in the real form, when he'll be raised after death, on the day of resurrection, he'll see what was this worldly life. It was only satanic trap in which he fell. He left the path of piety, righteousness, honesty, and truth, and he fell to satanic impulses, and he was trapped by Satan, and he'll find himself total ultimate loser. يَعِدُهُمْ, because Satan promises them, وَيُمَنِّيهِمْ, and arouses sinful desires in humans. But this is only up to that. وَمَا يَعِدُهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ إِلَّا غُرُورًا. But Satan's promise of Satan are nothing but deception and delusion, because it results total loss for the human being who follows that Satan. So this it may offer some timely gains, just temporary gains, fulfillment of sexual desires by unlawful means and haram means. It may give you may derive some pleasure out of temporary pleasure, but in the long run, it is detrimental for society in this world. And it is detrimental for his own self when he will be burnt alive in the fire, leaving behind genuine sexual outlets and going for others. That's Yaidum Shaitan. Similarly, one goes for honest earnings. And Satan puts in his own these impulses, make him to understand that nothing is, you are going to earn nothing out of this honest dealings. Go for dishonesty, go for corruption, whether moral, financial, or spiritual corruption in any form. You will earn millions and you will become big. Man may feel, but pious and righteous man of faith will never fall in this satanic trap. But man of sick faith, or a person who has no idea of faith, falls in this, becomes prey to satanic impulses. He may gain some, maybe temporarily he may gain some wealth, he may create his own house and cars and all that, but at the end of the day, he'll feel that this was all temporary gains for a specific period of time. As Quran puts, Mata al-Gurur. This was only enjoyment of delusion, enjoyment of few hours or few days of the life of this world. Ultimately, he will be the loser. Ulaika ma'wahum jahannam, because their abode, final abode, will be fire. Wala yajiduna anha mahisa. And they shall not find any exit from that fire, because that will be the ultimate destination. No way out. No exit from that. On the other hand, those who believe in God, who believe in prophet, not only prophet, but who believe in the institution of prophethood. That means they believe in all the prophets, right from day one to the last, that Muhammad, peace be upon him all. They believe in revelation as the only source of guidance for humans. And they believe this life to be temporary, and that life is going to come after death, which will be eternal, where everybody will be put to account, and then accordingly, on the basis of his faith and doings, he'll be punished or rewarded. That's the belief. On the other hand, while as those who believe and do not only believe but do good deeds also. That means who don't fall in satanic trap. Sanudkhilhum jannat. They shall be surely admitted to gardens, not fire, but on gardens, tajri min tahtiha al-anhar, which shall have everything for comforts, like flowing streams and shades and Allah's favors and fruits and everything, physical, psychological, mental, relief and comforts in its perfect form. Beneath which flow streams, khalidina fi abada. The best part of it is that they should abide therein forever, which is not possible, even if you get some comforts in this world. Firstly, in this world, nobody can get all the comforts he would desire for. Think about today's, every year, the Forbes list of billionaires is published every year. See their lives, ask them, did any of them get everything he likes? No way, it's not possible. Okay, what do we get? A wealthy man gets. That's for a specific period of time. Either a time comes, he may suffer losses and everything is taken. We see brokes. Sometimes see just some political turmoil, some world wars, or another economic crisis, or some epidemic which just a few years back, coronavirus and all that. All the share markets nosed down. Had a nose down and everything collapsed. Billionaires became paupers. Big industrialists were begging with water. It can happen. Or even if the wealth may remain for some time, but the person who owns it has to die. He will die. And for death, there is no calendar. I need not wait that, well, I will 70 or 80 years old, I'll die. Nobody on earth can claim to. Anybody can die anytime. That means even if he possesses some comforts, comforts he has to leave the comfort. Comforts will be dear, but he will be no more. That's why about the comforts of the next world, Quran highlights this special feature. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, well as those who believe and do good deeds. سَنُدْخِلُهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ, we shall admit them in the gardens. That gardens doesn't mean gardens as we see any garden in Switzerland, America, and Kashmir or anywhere. They're not gardens means perfect place of comfort, which here we cannot imagine. That's why Prophet, peace be upon him, used to say that for pious and righteous people, Allah has prepared such favors, has made ready for them all the comforts, all favors, which no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard, and no mind has ever imagined that. That's the perfect comforts which are in store for pious people. But Janatan Tajrim Ta'atan Khalidina fiha, they shall abide therein, which is not possible here. Wa'adallahi haqqa, this is Allah's true promise. Whereas in the previous verse we see, Wama ya'idu shaitan illa gurura. Promise of Satan is only delusion, deception, false, lie, fraud. Whereas Allah's promise is based on truth. That's going to happen, and it will. Waman asdaqu min Allah qila. Who can be truer in his word or statement than Allah? So we close here today because time is over. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم والحمد لله رب العالمين.